Ṣílẹ̀kùn ayọ̀ mi o, bàbá ṣílẹ̀kùn ayọ̀ mi. Ìbànújẹ́ o, jẹ́ kó jìnnà sílé mi. Wàá múnú mi dùn, bàbá onílé ayọ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ ayọ̀ mi, má jẹ́ kó pa mí lẹ́kún. Ṣílẹ̀kùn ayọ̀ mi o, bàbá ṣílẹ̀kùn ayọ̀ mi. Ìbànújẹ́ o, jẹ́ kó jìnnà sílé mi. Wàá múnú mi dùn, bàbá onílé ayọ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ ayọ̀ mi, má jẹ́ kó pa mí lẹ́kún. Good morning and welcome to Authentic Conversations Emoji. Today I believe is, I don't even know what day it is to think about it, yeah? But this is Authentic Conversations where we have authentic, right? Authenticity is my thing. But while we're waiting for other people to show up, today's Monday, January 27th, and I was inspired to do this because of the Anna and Two-Face issue. And for you non-Nigerians, Anna and Two-Face are a very prominent couple. Two-Face is a Nigerian musician. He's actually one of the legends, right? But the story brought a lot of questions up for me, right? Because we African women have been, socialized to believe something different from what really is. So while we're waiting for others to join us, please bear with me while I do this. So, welcome again to Authentic Conversations. This is Mojisola Wilson. Thank you so much for joining me. The Anna and the Two-Face conversation, honestly, it's heart-wrenching, it's heartbreaking. And, I've been asking this, I've been talking about the same issue for many, many years, right? Where I talk about people finding their tribe, finding people that can tell them the truth, finding people that can support them when they're going through hardships and things like that. And when I say finding your tribe, it doesn't mean that you don't have friends or you don't have family. I'm talking about people that understand you, that want you to grow, that believe in you, and people that have the courage to tell you the truth. And I think, honestly, if you ask me, I'll tell you, one of the biggest problems that I believe that we have in our society as Black women, as African Americans, as, African women in general, is religion has taught us to be less than our men. Religion has taught us that our sons are better than our daughters. Religion has taught us that women have to go, you have to endure, you have to suffer when you're being cheated on, right? When you're not being treated right by your children, by your friends, by your family. We women across the world, Black, white, green, we seem to carry the problems of the world on our backs. If you look at America, it's always women that are fighting the causes. Black Lives Matter was started by women. It's women that, are running around trying to make the world a better place, while the men, not all of them, where a majority of the men believe that they're better than us women. Majority of the men believe that they should be making more money than women because they're men. And if you know me, I come here asking questions because nobody knows it all, right? So today I'm filled with questions like, how did she get here? How did Annie get here? For you non-Nigerians, just bear with me for a moment, yeah? Because a lot of times I stop talking a lot because I just I don't understand a lot of things and my brain's always ticking, right? Good morning, Nikki. Thank you so much for joining. It's great to see you guys here. And I apologize, I haven't been here in a minute. But if we really think about it, right? I ask myself all the time, is it the Nigerian culture that makes women stay in horrible relationships? Or is it just a woman thing altogether? But when I thought about it, I remembered that, my father had a lot of wives, as you know, and I watch all these women that came in with their shoulders up when they started the relationship with my dad. And by the time they left or he kicked them out and brought in another model, they've shrunk. I have experienced it. I've experienced, people think until somebody hits you, that's when it's abusive. Mental abuse happens when somebody mistreats you, somebody cheats on you, because now you start wondering, is it me? Let's dissect the Annie story. And by the way, I don't know them personally. I've never lived with them. I'm just telling you what I have read and seen, and I've followed the story for quite a while. By the way, if you know me, I do not advocate people staying in horrible relationships. I advocate living. I left with nothing. I advocate. I have a lot of people that I coach, and I advocate living with a strategy so that you don't have to go through the valley, because suffering is not, we don't all have to suffer. Sometimes when we women go through things, it's important that we share what we go through so others can learn from it, right? Do me a favor and share this video. I don't make money off of my social media, so I don't care. But it's a very important message, because we have made being married, right, a status symbol, as opposed to being in a relationship, a good relationship, a nurturing relationship, as opposed to being in a partnership. Partnership is the key to being happy, right? So allegedly, what's her name, was how old? 15 years old when she met Two-Face, and he was in his mid-20s. So imagine a 15-year-old dating a 27-year-old man or 25-year-old man. How, I mean, that's, first of all, in America, it's called, you know what, right? It's the P word. If he was in America, it would be frowned upon. So my first question is, if this woman truthfully met this man at 15, where was her parents? If she met him at 15, where was her parents? Why didn't the parents step in and stop it? Right? Now, okay, so no problem. Then they date for many years, and then they finally got married. This man had 5 children before Annie had 1 child. Imagine a man cheating on you and having 5 children outside. It breaks down your sense of self. It breaks down your self-esteem. It gives you low self-esteem to the point where sometimes you start to think it's you. You start to think it's you. You're less than. That's why that man continues to go out when it's really his problem, not your problem, right? You start to think it's your problem because somebody's cheating on you. I don't care what your sexuality is. But if somebody's cheating on you, you think, oh, it's because I'm not thin enough. It's because I'm not fat enough. It's because I'm not good looking. Or maybe it's my hair or my skin color. It happens across the globe, Nikki. Happens across the globe. It's a woman thing, but more so a Black woman thing. Because when you go to your mother and you say, oh, I'm having a hard time in my relationship, the first thing they say is, oh, go inside the prayer closet. Instead of addressing the issue, we send women into the closet to go and hide their shame like it's their fault, right? They tell you, you're not praying enough, go inside the closet, go into the prayer closet and pray on your man and do this, instead of pulling the guy by the ear and saying, hey, Oga, why don't you sit still? What's your problem that you can't commit to one woman? So this guy allegedly had 5 children before she had her first child. 5, not 2, not 1, 5, right? He's got 7 children with 2 baby mamas or 3 women. But if you have 7 children with 3 women, and Annie had 2 children, it means that you kept cheating on her with the same people. It's one thing, in our culture, we understand that people have polygamous families. Say this is what you want, right? I want a polygamous family, and let the person know up front. Disclosure is key. But when women are being cheated on and they go to the other friends, their friends are like, oh, don't worry. You better not let somebody else come and reap the benefits of your hard work. First of all, other women are already reaping the benefits of your hard work, right? Because when you start a relationship, it's supposed to be with trust. It's supposed to be in transparency, right? So when the guy stood up in church and married this woman, Annie, we all thought, okay, this is going to be amazing. But, and then there's this myth out there that all men cheat, right? All men cheat. All men don't cheat. Men with low self-esteem cheat. Men that don't respect themselves cheat. People in general cheat. People that don't respect themselves cheat. People that don't respect their partners cheat. So now, Annie, being a good woman, was supposed to have endured all the pain, but you have to remember, your mindset is very important. You have all these men, all these women that around you that are telling you, oh, hang in there, you know, he's a big star. Maybe, I don't know if that's what happened in their situation, but you have women or your friends telling you, just hang in there. Maybe he's going to change when he gets older. Let me tell you something. Nobody respects a doormat. A doormat you wipe your feet away on and you walk out, not caring if it's clean, not caring if it's dirty, not caring if your mental health is intact, right? There is absolutely no way somebody can cheat on you several times. Somebody that you're married to, not even dating, not kicking it with, not situationship, somebody that you're trying to build a life with, that had 5 children with other women outside your relationship. And let me tell you, it's going to make you feel like crap. I've been there and I'm a lesbian. All right. It's going to make you feel horrible. It's going to make you feel unworthy. Now, one of the reasons why I preach self-actualization, self-empowerment, is when you're doing your own thing, you get respect from your partner. No matter how much money they have, your partner has. Even if you're a housewife and you're just doing philanthropy stuff, you know, you create a not-for-profit organization and you start doing something, or you just got to find something to do. You can't just be sitting at home and eating bonbons and your whole life and your whole schedule revolves around one person. It's a burden on that one person. And I'm not blaming Annie. I really am not. I'm just asking questions. Why is it that when a lot of women get married, they lose their sense of self? They morph into that other person's life, right? Nobody wants, well, this is 2025. I don't believe anybody out there, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with housewives and all that, because I call myself a housewife. But I'm a housewife that does real estate, that does philanthropy, I flip houses, I have Airbnbs and all that stuff. But I consider myself a housewife because I don't really need to work if I don't want to. But I do work because it makes me feel good about myself when I get up in the morning and I start doing something. But when your whole life wraps around one person, it's a burden on that one person, number one. And it just depletes you of who you are, your sense of identity, your sense of accomplishment, your sense of self. And this person has disgraced you in front of the world, to the point where you're on a reality show and other women are abusing her because her husband is community property. Why do women want to be with community property? Why do women think they don't deserve? Now, if that's what you want, shuku to you, but own it. If what you want is a polygamous family, Regina Daniels is not complaining because she's having the time of her life. That's how she saw herself. That's what she wants to do. That's who she wants to be. So you see her just glowing up all over the place. She met the rich sugar daddy or whatever, her husband, right? And she's glowing up. She's having the time of her life. I have no beef with her. The problem I have is when you're with a person that doesn't respect you, that doesn't honor you, that just goes around randomly, and then 2 years ago had the audacity to come and ask you on national TV, on worldwide TV, on a reality show to marry him just to get paid. Now, okay, so let's be real. We all have tempers, we all have temperaments, we all have families. Sometimes we're unlucky and we end up in homes where the family doesn't really like us, yeah? That's okay. But how are you handling your stress? When I talk about, look, all these Birkin bags you're carrying, all these Louis Vuitton bags you're carrying, all these fancy designer bags you're carrying, it has nothing to do with your inside. It has nothing to do with so you can buy all the body parts that you want. Until you fix your mindset, you're not going to attract the right people. And the way society is going these days, if you stay in a relationship that's not nurturing, that's not fulfilling, that's not, I beg, leave. Once you start seeing signs that somebody is not interested in you and they start cheating, and by the time the guy's had the 3rd child, you already know you're not priority on his list. And if it's a woman that's cheating on you as a man too, I beg, this is leave. Because as long as you have life in you, you have the opportunity to meet somebody that's going to love, respect, and honor you. But a lot of times we women believe that once we leave a relationship, that's it, I'm getting older and there's no chance in life. We can't continue to do that because society is it society that tells us to stay in horrible relationships? I often ask myself that, is it society? Because we keep saying it's society, society, society. But is it really society or is it us? Because a lot of times we get involved in this, I don't even know how to explain it. We get involved in a relationship and we get intoxicated with the relationship, how the relationship looks and what people think and how people see us, that we forget to work on our inner self, on our mindset, on our mental health. I talk a lot about reading books. I talk a lot about getting therapy. I talk about getting a life coach. People laugh. But see, when you meet somebody at the age of 15, first of all, you don't know who you are. You don't know what you want. So they're going to groom you. They're going to groom you because if you meet a 27-year-old man when you're 15 and you're dating, he's going to teach you because you have not taught yourself. You have not learned who you are yet. You have not made the mistakes that you need to grow in life. You have not accomplished anything, so they now become your God. About 3 months ago, I posted something about, in my opinion, most women should not get partnered up until they're in their mid-20s or early 30s, because it gives you the opportunity to go to school, get your master's, yada, yada, yada. I got chewed out. I didn't say all women, but if you remember quite well, that most of us, and I'm talking about me, let me just use me, I didn't become my authentic self until late in life. And when I speak to other women as well, they tell me the same thing. You know, it takes a while for women to understand who they are, what they need to survive, right? And when you're cultivating your circle is when you're in university, when you come out of university and you're trying to find your footing in the real world. But we don't do that. This 15-year-old girl got with a 20-something, 25-plus-year-old man. And I can assure you he groomed her. He probably told her what the world expects of her. And and when she looks around her, she's seeing other women doing the same thing. Maybe I saw a lot of my stepmothers just shut up and sit down while my father did whatever he wanted to. But this is 2025. We can no longer blame society. We can no longer blame our mothers. Because our mothers didn't know any better. Now we do. And if you have friends that are walking the wrong path and you're not telling them the truth, telling them the truth might cost you your friendship, but at least you had the audacity and you cared about them enough to tell them the truth. I mean, Two-Face has disgraced this woman in so many ways, and all she did was love him to death. But at some point, folks, if love was all we need for relationships to work, nobody's going to get a divorce. And when you don't have boundaries, if you don't have boundaries, there's nobody, he's not stepping out. When every time he steps out, when every time your partner steps out, Oga, you do nothing. You say nothing. You might get upset indoors, but then you come out and defend community properties. This is not a man bashing video. This is a reality. I sat with a woman once, yeah? And you know I always get in trouble, right? So I sat with a woman once and she was going on and about her son, how amazing her son is, how good looking he is, and he can have any woman. You know me, I can't help myself sometimes. Mojiko stepped in and said, your son can have any woman. And then she brought up the fact that a lot of these women are so arrogant these days because, you know, there's a lawyer that her son was chasing and the lawyer woman is not giving him any face. And I said to her, I'm sorry. Your daughter is in school studying accounting. She's doing her MBA. Your daughter graduated college and is now studying to get her MBA. Your son is a high school dropout. Imagine your daughter who's getting her MBA after going to school for 4 years that you pay for. Imagine her going to meet a guy that dropped out of high school, that's living in the basement of his mother's house, and your daughter brings that man to you. Would you say yes? She's like, oh, no, 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 no. Why would I do that? Why are you insulting me? I said, Auntie, I'm sorry. You just said your son, who lives in your basement, doesn't have a job that you support, can have any woman that he wants. Honestly, I think that's part of the problem. I really do. But what do I know? So I'm throwing the question out to you. Are we women our own worst problems? Because what we teach our daughters is not what we teach our sons. We tell our daughters, oh, marry, 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 marry. My father never once asked me, when are you getting married? It was always my stepmothers. It was always my cousins, my aunts, mostly women. Guys don't ask you when you're, my father didn't ask me. Did your father ask you, when are you getting married? No, they ask you. My father always asked me about business, how are you doing? What are you doing? And, what can I help you with and stuff. He never once asked me, when are you getting married? But we women, when we see each other, oh, when are you getting married? When is your daughter getting married? When married? I even make a joke about it with everybody I meet. Look, me personally, I don't care if you wait till you're 35, 40. It's better for you to go through that than to destroy your future and destroy your life. Annie is allegedly in a mental, in rehab. You can tell when I was going through my own, what I call Job moment, I was an angry Black woman. A lot of people probably didn't like me in those days, but it is what it is. This is part of how we grow. When you don't let go of what's not working, you end up spending 23 years like Annie did. She should have run the very moment he had the first child outside. He had 5 children while they were married outside. And she still stayed, and people were clapping for her. Oh my God, what a good woman. What an amazing woman. How good, she's a whoa, shoe. Sorry, let me be the bad one. And us women, we're terrible people sometimes, right? Us women, we are terrible to each other. I remember when I was going through my divorce, and my friend's younger sister, that I've always called by her first name. So now I'm going through a divorce because I woke up one day and said, I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. I want to be authentic. I want to live my truth. I just can't do this anymore. Because when you're not being authentic, when you're not being truthful to yourself, you don't always pick the right people. I see you, Chelsea. You don't always pick the right people. You are going to pick people that are less because you have low self-esteem like I did. So I remember going through a divorce, and this person that I had always called by her first name. Now, because I'm going through a divorce, the woman looks at me and says, she's younger than me by like 10 years. Her sister, older sister, is my friend. She looks at me and says, oh, from now on, call me Mrs. I looked at her and I was so down. I slept for 24 hours. Moji, should call you Mrs. Your older sister is the one that's my friend. But because I'm going through a divorce now, we women have to be kinder and support each other better. And when you have friends that are going down the wrong path, people say, oh, not my monkey, not my circus. It is your monkey and it's definitely your circus, because at the end of the day, this thing, it goes around in circles. When we're kinder and we support women that are going through divorces, my inbox is always open to people. I advise people. I share my stories. My my journey is not going to be yours, but maybe you can learn one thing that could change the trajectory of your life. That's why I sit here and talk. We all must find people that we can communicate, that we can talk to, that will be honest with us. I'm at the point in my life where I realize that I'd rather have 5 friends that will pull me by the collar and said, Moji, what you're doing doesn't make sense. And yes, sometimes I will abuse you, but I will always come back. Sometimes I'll be like, no, leave me alone. But I will always come back after I've had time to think about it. A lot of us are not willing to risk our friendships to speak the truth. And sometimes you just have to let people walk the course. But 23 years of mental torture is not what I call marriage. And people will see her and say, oh, she's carrying Birkin bags. She flies in a first class or private plane. And what are you going through at night? What are you going through? And half the time, it's the women making the moves. It's the women with the connections. It's the women that are trying to make this thing work for their partner. And let's even assume you marry a big shot like, what's his name? Two-Face. At the end of the day, folks, At the end of the day, let's be real. At the end of the day, is it worth it? Is it worth your mental health? Is it worth your reputation? Is it really worth all of that we continue to tell ourselves it is worth? You know, if we're not doing the right thing by ourselves and our family and our friends, right? Especially the women in our circles. I volunteer a lot in women organizations, not because I'm a lesbian, but because I know that a lot of women need empowerment, because when you empower women, you're empowering the whole village. So self-actualization is number one thing I preach to everybody. I don't care if you're gay, straight, or crooked, right? It's important to know who you are, discover who you are, so you know what your boundaries are, you know what you can live with. How in the world are you with somebody for 23 years, people? 23 years. How is it? I'm asking this question, no? 23 years you're with somebody. This woman is getting dragged on social media because of the show that she went on with her husband. Allegedly, she might be on drugs. Even if you're leaving this woman, I'm not saying people should stay in bad relationships. The same way I tell women, if the relationship is not working, leave. It's the same way I ask men to leave when the relationship is not working. And for Two-Face going himself, if you keep cheating on this woman, it's because she's not enough for you. Or she doesn't, the paradigm that you want is not what she wants. So cut her loose. That's wickedness, to keep somebody tied in a relationship for 23 years. And then you allegedly leave your house, telling her you're going for a photo shoot, and then you go and post on social media that you're leaving your wife and you're going to get a divorce. Is that somehow somebody finds out they're getting a divorce, for crying out loud? Right? Is this, I mean, that will break me to the fullest if I go on social media, and that's, whoa. If you like to come into the room, if you want to come up on stage with me, please feel free to click on the link while we're live. And I just posted the link on the thing. If you would like to come up, just come to the studio, click on the link and come into the studio with me, and let's talk about this, because it doesn't make sense. Is it on social media that you will go and announce to your wife that you allegedly left in the house and told you were going on a photo shoot? Because that is sheer wickedness. Two-Face has not made a single song, music, anything that has hit the charts in about 10 years. This is like old glory. So all this madness is going to draw up more attention for Two-Face, right? He's going to trend. I mean, you don't use people that you claim to love like that. But I ask again, are we women our own worst enemy? Do you think this woman didn't know from year 1 or 2 or 3? Or you think she didn't know this guy doesn't really love her after he had 5 children outside before she had 1? Do you think her friends did not see this coming? Because I saw it coming 10 years ago. I'm not talking about her issue. You know, for me, I don't make money on social media, but I want us all to learn from this. I always tell people, look, if you're going to fail fast so you can regroup fast enough. And it's probably about 45 now. She met the guy at 15. She's been married to him for 23 years. And now she has to start all over. When if she had left him in her 20s, she could have found the love of her life. I found my wife at 52. If I had stayed, it took what? 52. I left my ex when I was in 2003, 4, right? I didn't meet my wife till 2016. If I had stayed in that relationship that wasn't fulfilling to me, because I chose the wrong person on purpose. I didn't want anyone that was going to harass me, right? But think about it. When you stay too long in relationships, you're robbing yourself the opportunity. When you stay in a denial state, oh, I love him, and only God can separate us. Well, bad thing is, when God is showing you signs, because I'm a believer, I don't go to church. I don't do anything in church. But when God wants you to move and you don't move, when he wants you to get up out of a chair and you don't get up, he will yank the chair, or she, I don't know if God is a man or woman, but God will yank the chair from underneath you because you're not moving. A lot of us know when we're in terrible relationships. Look, let me tell you something. You know, me, I tell people my truth. I came up here and talked about how my son was mistreating me. Before I came, I got to the point where, okay, you don't want to talk to me, no problem, stay in your corner. I was begging. Oh, I spent so much money, so much time, so much this. But one day I just woke up and said, wait, you did everything you can do. The worst thing you can do for this boy is to keep him around you because you're an enabler, Muji. A lot of you have young sons that you're not training. You're raising them. You're raising them with this false impression that they're better than women. They're kings, kings without a castle, kings without a kingdom. How do you get a kingdom? We're not teaching these children, these young men, how to become men. That's why I ask, are we women? Because we're not teaching them by what we allow. Most mothers that I know, I'm not saying anything about your life, or I'm saying most mothers that I know are single parents. So when your son see that your baby daddy is mistreating you, your husband is mistreating you, cheating on you, they think that's the way forward. They think that's real life. So if we want anything to change, we have to start within our homes. We have to start by not accepting less than what we know we deserve. If you want somebody that's going to mistreat you, remember that your sons are watching you. Your daughters are watching you. Your daughters learn what to expect in relationships. My father never hugged me one day in my life, but I knew he loved me because he provided. His love language was provide. But I also watched my father mistreat women, loads of women. My father had 12 wives. You know, in the Nigerian system, he only married one legally. I watched him beat women. I thought it was normal. And then when he beats me too, and he tells me, oh, if I didn't love you, I won't waste my time beating you. When I started dating, I thought if somebody didn't beat me, I did. I thought if somebody didn't fight with me or beat me, it means they didn't love me. So we have to start to teach our young sons how to treat women. We have to start by us not accepting bad behavior by women not accepting bad behavior from your partners. Because let me tell you, when your son sees that you are not collecting child support from their dad, they think it's okay. Jesus. They think it's okay. When you accept your partner to have children outside like rabbits, your son is going to go around believing it's okay unless he's made out of a different cloth. And when, I asked the question, are we women the problem? Because we don't tell ourselves the truth. We always, I remember one time when somebody came to me and said, oh, my husband's cheating and kiniko. And I said to the woman, I said, if your husband is cheating, call him, sit him down and have a conversation. We can't do that too. Why can't you do that? Why can't you have a conversation? Because you think these men don't have problems. These men are broken just like we are broken as well, because we women handicap them, in my opinion. We keep telling them they're kings. They have no kingdom, but they're kings. We keep telling them they can have any woman that they want without teaching them how to be couth. We don't teach men how to be respectful. We teach women how to be good wives, but we don't teach our sons how to be good husbands. When I started telling my son he had to start cooking for himself at 13, I stopped cooking in this house for my son at 13. Everybody was saying, oh, Auntie Moji, you're so mean. Auntie Moji, you're so cruel. Moji, you're so bad. But sometimes men marry because they want a house cleaner, or they want somebody that's going to be a good mother, not a good partner, not somebody they want to fall in love with. Why do you think men go out? A man will marry a good woman, allegedly good woman, because she doesn't wear short skirts and is not showing, and then the girl they cheat with has all out showing. Instead of teaching people to find who is compatible, we tell people what to do. We women are our own biggest problem. Look, one of the things that I learned, that I've been teaching all these younger women that I mentor, is find yourself first. By the time I found myself, if you have been following me for a while, you totally will remember, I hope, where I used to say on my shows for like 3 years before I met my wife, I would say, oh, me, I want a woman that's 45 and up. Why? Because I dated younger people and younger women, and it wasn't working out too well. I want a woman that has her own, because I'm tired of supporting everybody that I date. I want a woman that has integrity and has compassion, has empathy, and is funny. What did I get? That times 10. But if you don't know who you are, you never know what you want. How do you know who you are? You take the time, you spend time with yourself. You take the time to to go through stuff. Me, if a relationship is not working, I leave. You know what I learned? I'm 60 years old. I now know that you can't grow in the same circles. Because half the people are jealous of you, first of all. When you have a good relationship, a lot of your friends that are clapping for you, they don't want you. When I post my wife's pictures, you know how many of my friends go into her DM? My wife will bring me the phone and say, isn't this your friend? A lot of people don't want you to be happy. And the ones that want you to be happy are the ones that you think don't like you because they're telling you the truth. You're waiting for a man. A lot of you meet men, and because the society or your friends or your mother or your church has told you to tell a guy you like the guy, when the guy comes to meet you, now you're doing young guy, you're trying to buga and all that. Nobody got time for that. This is 2025. You want something, you speak your truth. But if you don't know what you want, how are you planning on getting what you don't know you want? So you settle for what society tells you. And a lot of you, us women, we are our own biggest problem. Because when you are looking for somebody that's going to buy you a Birkin bag, as opposed to somebody that's going to build a relationship with you, honey, you will get the Birkin bag, but you won't get the man. You won't get the woman if you're a lesbian. You will get the money. And as they're buying you all this stuff, they're buying 10 other women all that stuff. And it doesn't matter if you're straight or gay or crooked. It doesn't matter. Your self-worth is not in the Birkin bag. Your self-worth is within you. When you lose who you are and now become somebody's shadow, big problem. Because people say, oh, my world revolves around my husband. Like, your husband is getting married is not an achievement in 2025. Staying married is the real key, right? And how do you stay married? There's no African woman I know. There's no African man I know that doesn't walk around with a lot of trauma because of our society. Our governments have abused us emotionally, financially, and mentally. The police that are supposed to protect us in Africa, especially Nigeria, they abuse us, Sam, right? You have to pay bribe for everything. So we're all damaged goods. But if you're not honest and transparent and you both go for either a coach, a relationship coach, or you don't go for therapy so you can heal. And even if you can't afford therapy, you have people that are doing this thing for free on social media. Follow them. But instead, you'll be following nonsense blogs that are lying up and down the storm, that are creating disarray. Instead of you to follow people that will build you up and have you, work on yourself and show you the way, you won't do that. And a lot of you guys that have made mistakes, you women that have made mistakes, you're not telling these young women the truth. The truth. Annie stayed in that relationship for 23 years. The guy had 5 children while they were married before she had her number 1. Let me tell you, my question, and I want you guys to answer. If you don't, I don't have any answers for you. I have questions. Are we women our own worst enemy? Mehan says our parents spend a lot of time grooming the child to be the perfect bosa. Exactly what I've been saying. We groom the women to be patient, to go inside the prayer closet and pray and fast. Your husband is the one doing jagbajantis, but now you they pray and fast. Not the man that's doing jagbajantis. Yeah? Not the man that's doing crazy cray. It's you. the woman that's been asked to go and pray, that's been asked to go and fast. How are you fasting and praying for somebody else? They should be doing all that work themselves. Right? But like Mahan says, our parents spent a lot of time grooming the girl child to be the perfect housewife and totally neglected the boy child. Now the birds are coming home to roost. Thank you. Shuku to you, Mahan. Because at the end of the day, when you spend all this time, there's in some parts of Africa, Nigeria, they will send the girls to the best schools in the world just to marry them off, to become housewives, like they're going to be marrying houses. You think your partner doesn't, I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I know that my wife gets excited when I'm doing well with my business, when I'm doing something, she's able to support, me mentally, physically, whatever I need to do. But she gets excited that I'm happy doing something. But we don't teach our daughters to find joy and happiness within themselves. We have hinged the lives and joy and existence of women to being with another human being, which now means that they have to sap the energy of the other person. Until we start training our daughters to be self-sufficient, self-actualize, and love themselves first. Because nobody can love you. You can't even find the right kind of love when you don't love yourself. Because now, when somebody, that's why a lot of men, good men, and I know a lot of good men, I get a lot of men in my inbox that are looking for partners. A lot of good men that cook and clean, they're not looking for you to come and be their house girl. They're not looking for you to come. Some of them don't even want children, right? But some women don't want children. And a lot of us have children because we just think that's what society expects of us. Yet there are men that will tell you, I didn't marry my wife so she can have a child. But we don't see those men out there, because when a man stands up and says, oh, I want you, and they treat you right, women don't understand. They don't know how to react to that. When you have a man that cooks and cleans and doesn't cheat and doesn't lie, a lot of women call them swegbe. They want the bad boys because that's what they're used to. That's what they're conditioned to believe a good relationship looks like. So are we women our own worst enemies because we're not teaching our sons how to be good people? Because you have to be a good person first, right, to become a good husband. But we spend all our time teaching our women how to build calluses and to endure suffering. We teach our sons that they are kings as opposed to how to become kings, how to be respectful of women, how to be respectful of themselves first, and then respectful of women. But you know what? Like they say in my little village, oh, monkey see, monkey do. You can say a lot out of your mouth. Are you exuding what you're saying to your child? Is your husband beating you up at home? Or is your partner beating you up at home? And you're telling your daughters, don't stay in horrible relationships, but you're staying. When you do that, you're basically telling them that what you're telling them is not right. Because here you are in a horrible relationship where the guy is cheating, doing whatever he wants to do, or it's a woman that you're into, or whatever it is that you're into, right? But your relationships don't model what you're preaching. And look, let me tell you something. I date women. I'm married to a woman. And one of the things that I'm learning by, from mentoring these younger women is that a lot of them bring this mindset where they've been told all their lives they have to be with a man to be anybody. They have to be married to a man, which I get, but they still bring that mindset of if somebody is not abusing you, they don't love you. And that's not true. And I think it's time that we start to tell our younger women the truth. I think it's time that we start to tell our younger men the truth as well, which We need a lot of men to be on the to be on the same page as well. But what's going on today, in my opinion, in our society, African Black society, is a ricochet of the I can do it by myself mindset without the mindset of a person that believes in themselves. Because what you say in your mouth, if it's not matching how you're living your life, then there's a problem. So we are our own biggest problems, in my opinion. But I'm going to throw the question to you. Are we women our own biggest problems? Because when you tell your daughter, oh, don't take any abuse from anybody, but your partner is abusing you, your partner is using your money to go and support his babies outside, but you're telling your daughters one thing, and what your son is seeing you accept, yeah? What your son sees you accept is what he's going to go out and dish to other women. So everything starts and stops in our home. There's a saying, I forget who said it, when you educate a woman, you're educating the whole village. When you educate a man, you're just educating a man. Shuku to them all. But here's the question. Are we women our own problems? Are we the ones that create the rhetoric that when a man or a person is abusing you in a relationship, go into the prayer closet, lock yourself up and starve yourself to death, as opposed to having a conversation, authentic conversation with your partner? What you're doing does not make me happy. I will not stay if you're not doing the right thing by me. Why are you allowing a man to have 5 children outside early in the relationship? That means the guy doesn't love you. 1 is an accident. 5 is a way of life. If you watch that show, Rich and Famous, African Rich and Famous, or whatever the show is, I watched 2 for the past 3 weeks. That's all I have watched, funny enough, because all I saw was a train wreck. I knew this day was coming. If you watch the show, you will remember, right? If you watch the show, give me a thumbs up, give me a star, give me, not a star, give me, I don't need your money. Give me a heart or a thumbs up or a something so I know that you get what I'm saying. If you remember at the table, when somebody said something to the effect of, they were talking about men and how men cheat and how men do this and do that. And Two-Face said, oh, his private part has his own. A man can be in love with a woman, and then, he'll still be sleeping with other women. And Annie was sitting right next. I dare anybody to do that to me. Annie was sitting right next to. He has no respect. And how can anybody respect you when you've allowed them to become community property? How can anybody respect you when you have no boundaries? Even my children did not respect me until I started putting my foot down. But not only did I put my foot down, I followed through. A lot of times you threaten, I'm going to leave you if you do this, if you cheat on me again. When you don't leave, they'll do it again. So the question today is, are we women our own worst enemies? And I'm asking these questions because of 3 reasons. We groom our daughters into tolerating hurtful, harmful behaviors from other people, especially men. We train our men to believe, our sons, to believe that they're better than women and, this and that. When, Olga, how can you be better than a woman? Because of anatomy, not because of your behavior or your accomplishments. How can you be better? How can you be a king without a castle? How can you be a king when you're not modeling a king's behavior? A king is supposed to be couth, respectful, accomplished. But we keep telling all these boys that we give birth to, oh, you're a king, you can have any woman. Honey, no, you can't. The only reason why Annie stayed that long is because, first of all, she has nothing going for her. She used to be an actress. She quit. You don't give up your livelihood or your job or your whatever, even if you're just doing it for fun. You don't have to get paid. Just have something to do every day. You don't give up your job because you get into a relationship. You don't give up. What if the relationship doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? Like I tell everybody, when they ask me, what do you do? I'm a housewife that owns a real estate company. I buy and sell houses. I'm a certified life coach. And I'm a philanthropist because I run a not-for-profit organization funded by me and my wife. That's a whole lot of stuff to do. But I'm still a housewife because I don't have to do any of that stuff. But I do it. It makes people respect you. Nothing wrong with housewives, though, because, my God, I would work 10 jobs before raising children again ever in my life, because that's the hardest job in the world. When we first moved from New York, I almost lost my mind because it was a time of regrouping, retraining my mindset, and oh my God, I almost lost my mind. Being a stay-at-home mother is one of the hardest jobs in the universe, and it should be respected. But even if you're a stay-at-home mother, you need to find things to do to uplift your self-esteem. I gained 40 pounds. Now I'm losing it. I've lost about 30 of it, by the way. I only have 10 more to go. So shuku to me. Yeah, shuku to me. But think about it. How can you be sane when you have a man that's like public, or partner that's public property? Aren't you even worried about gifts that continue to gift? Aren't you worried about him bringing STDs? Aren't you worried about, only God knows what kind of diseases that woman has to deal with? That's going to affect your mental health. It's going to make you feel like you're less. And if your friends are not supportive, leave them. You can't grow. See, when I got my divorce, people stopped talking to me. They did. A lot of people. A lot of Nigerian people. Because now divorce is like that. But in the days when I was getting my divorce, women were running away. I don't know. Maybe they thought I wanted their husbands. But no, I'm a lesbian. That's why I left my relationship. That's why I left. But the truth is, women can do that to each other. Men can do that but we find that men cheat. African men cheat. A lot of African men cheat. The good ones turn into bad boys because the bad boys always get the chick. A guy that's working, and 50% of African women believe that, and I don't have any data, I can find it, that all men cheat. All men don't cheat. All men don't cheat. But a man will be bad if that's the only way he can earn your attention, earn your respect. And if all you want from men is money, 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 they will buy you. And then they'll go and find somebody that challenges them. Don't tell my wife, but sometimes I'll just get upset for no reason. Because, I'm sorry, it's part of, I'm still working on myself. I'll just get upset and I won't even know why. So I read a lot of books that helps with my mindset. I post a lot of books that helps with people's mindset. I talk about, it's not even mental health. It's about self-development. It's about feeling good about yourself from the inside out, not because of what you're wearing. And if you notice, the more I feel good about Moji, the less I need stuff. Like I walk around now in Salvation Army, in thrift store, what you guys call Okrika. I walk around it in all day. I will go to a shop and find brand new stuff and buy it. It's not the bag I carry. It's not the bag I carry. It's not the shoes I wear. It's not the money that is spent on me. Time is the most valuable thing that we have. Good morning, Blessing, Stanley. Time. I mean, self-respect is so worth more than money. Self-respect. But if you don't love yourself, who's going to love you? If you don't love yourself, how do you pick the right partner? Especially in a community where we've been told that if you don't have a man, you're a nobody. If your man is not, so I remember somebody come to me one day and said, my mother said, oh, if your man is not beating you, he doesn't love you. I walked and I had to tell my story. I told her my story. I said, when I was growing up, I used to see my father slap his wives. I would see them tussle. And then when my father would tell me, go and pick your koboko. Do you want koboko or belt? I would go and pick the one that I want. After he's done beating me, he'll tell me, oh, if I didn't love you, I won't beat you. It hurts me more to beat you than it hurts you. How would you know? You're beating me and you're telling me it hurts you more to beat you. You're spanking me with beating, not even spanking. I have scars. Beating. And I'm not saying my father didn't love me, because back then, you remember I'm 60 years old. That's the discipline that we all got. But that was training my mind to believe that if somebody is not mistreating me, they don't care about me. And that's what we need to stop, in my opinion. That rhetoric that, oh, if the man cheats on you, it's okay. But that's what we see. That's what we see. Now I know, Stanley, that when somebody loves you, right? When somebody loves you, they don't mistreat you. I mean, of course, we're going to argue, we're going to fight, but you can't love anyone if you don't genuinely love yourself. And nobody, you're not going to, because you can't pick the right partner. And that's where the problem lies. When you don't take the time to get to know who you are and really like yourself, you can't pick the right partner. And this poor woman, Annie, and I felt my heart breaks for her. She did everything. I mean, it's enough to drive you to smoke Colorado. I'm sorry. I don't blame, I blame her, but I don't blame her. I blame our doctrine. I blame our conditioning. I blame the way women, us African women, have been told that we're nothing. You can't get a job without a man trying to hit on you. You can't, even in church where you're going for sanctuary, the pastor is trying to, and other women as well. The women around you. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. I value women, people that tell me the truth. That's why my best friends, right? My best friends are men. Actually, I think I'm slightly, because my father raised me. I actually told a person one time, I said, I told a young man one time, I said, stop. He's like, why? I said, that thing you're doing, you need to stop, because I can see it. I was raised by my father. So my mind is wired. My male energy is kind of like on flex, and I was raised by my father. I was raised by my cousins that are men. My best friends still today are men, because men will just tell you. And it took me a long time to learn that you can't do that with women, especially African women. But I think it's time we stopped lying to each other and telling a woman that's been abused emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, right? That it's not okay. It's not okay for a man to cheat on you. It's one thing to cheat once, go for therapy, get a certified life coach. I do relationship and career coaching. I don't announce it anymore. That's why you don't see me talking on here. But this particular topic really, oh God, it hurt me to the core. How can you go on social media? How allegedly can you tell your wife that you're traveling? And then you go and announce that you're getting a divorce on social media. I shouldn't have to find out. And even if you're getting a divorce and you both knew about it, and you know this woman is being dragged on social media for the show, the reality show that she's on, and now you go and open her up to the public on Twitter, not even IG, on Twitter, to savages, to rip her apart. Like, you might as well take her and drop her in a bunch of hyenas. You never loved her. Because if you really loved, if Two-Face really loved, oh God, his name, Two-Face. The guy is really two-faced if you think about it. Because how do you tell your wife allegedly that you're going to do a photo shoot and you get on a plane and go to the UK? You didn't have the balls. This is part of what I'm saying. All these bad boys, they're born boys. They're no men. A man will walk up to his wife and say, Mama Shukra, this thing is not working. Because me, I don't believe anybody should stay in a horrible relationship. This thing is not working. I'm leaving. That's a man. A bomb boy will play games. I did a show. Google it. Google, go to my thing and watch. I did a show a few years ago about bomb boys. We have raised a whole bunch of bomb boys. Now they're all living in the basement. No matter how much money they have, they don't know how to build relationships, hold on to relationships, platonic, romantic, anything. They just know how to dip all over the place. Temporary satisfaction. They don't know who they are themselves because they've been taught that they can have anything when it's not true. This is part of the sense of entitlement to women's bodies, to women's spaces, to women, everything. You can tell a man is a man is a man. I don't care what you're wearing. You can tell a grown man as opposed to a boy. A boy is this man's behavior was the behavior of a born boy. Because a real man would tell his partner, his wife, or whatever, this relationship is not working. I am done. You don't go on social media and start blasting. especially knowing what this woman is going through at the moment, right? Bottom line is, it's time for me to go. You do love yourself, but nobody sees you beating yourself up or offering yourself up for a beating. It takes a long time. It took me a long time to get here. It really took me a long time to get here. It was a lot of therapy, it was a lot of reading self-help books. I listened to a lot of podcasts. I'm on YouTube listening to people's stories because personally, I rather learn from other people's stories so I don't have to carry the scars. That's why it's important for us all to share stories. My name is Mojisola Wilson. I'm going to leave you with 3 questions or 3 requests. My 3 questions are we women our own problems because of, 1, how we raise our daughters into believing that we have to be less. We have to sacrifice ourselves for our children. We have to sacrifice ourselves for our sons. We have to sacrifice ourselves for everybody, including society. And then they'll be clapping as you are losing your, look, I lost my hair. Half of my hairline is receded so back because I'm carrying everybody else's problem because society, well, not society, I thought I had to mother everybody around me. I thought I had to be the sacrificial lamb for my children, my cousins, my society, because I'm a woman. Is that part of our problem? Is it time that we start training our sons to be good people and good partners? How do we do that? We train our sons that they have to earn things, not that because they're born with down there, they automatically deserve things. And we need to stop telling our sons that they can have any woman. And you women, okay. You know why I don't do Twitter? You know why I stopped talking for a long time? Because people don't like to hear the truth. We women are the ones that allow a lot of these things to happen. We say one thing out of our mouth, but our behavior does not exude. It doesn't model what we're telling our sons. It doesn't model what we're telling our daughters, rather. When your children see you being beat up every day, when your children see your partners cheating on you, they think it's okay, especially your daughters. When your daughters see that you're the one paying all the bills in the house and the guy is just doing his own thing, wahala. When your children see that you're a money-mongering person and you're cheating on your partner and your husbands and you're running around and you're getting contract by sleeping around. Look, right now, women, especially Nigerian women, I see you guys are dropping off. It's okay. This is why I don't talk. Especially Nigerian women, it's all about money. It's all about designer bags. It's all about handbags and who has the best hair. Instead of spending $1,000, I met a girl that her hair was 1.5 million naira. $1,000 on your hair. How? She gets the money from a sugar daddy. When our self-worth is not attached to material things and money, men will start to respect you people. And if you're a lesbian, women will start to respect you. But when your values are not based on integrity, compassion, empathy, respect, couth, and class, and you date anything, you're a money sexual, this is where it gets you. 23 years, and he gave Two-Face. 23 years. And instead of walking to his wife and saying, I'm sorry, this is not working out. And maybe he's done it 3, 4, 5 times and she held on, whatever, right? Last week, a woman was beat up by her husband. Hey, God. A woman was beat up by her husband with bruises and swollen eyes. And society was shouting. Twitter was on fire. Everybody was on fire. The woman came out and said, mind your own business. So at least, if you don't have people in your circle to tell you the truth, there's always going to be a problem. Because your circle A lot of times, your people don't want you to do any better than you. They don't want you to do better than them. They want you to be successful, though, not as much as them. So they will advise you to go into the prayer closet and starve yourself. Fast. Like, your fasting is not going to stop your partner from cheating. Your standing up and saying no more is what's going to stop your partner from cheating. You know? Fola Shade, I think most Nigerians need therapy. Most Nigerians need therapy because, man, I went through therapy. I had a certified, I went through coaching. I read a lot of books. I'm now a certified life coach for that exact reason. I'm not a therapist though, but I'm a certified life coach. I do career coaching and I do relationship coaching. Every Nigerian, in my opinion, we need, especially the women, we need therapy, because if you don't get therapy, and you have to get the right kind of therapy, not talk therapy. Talk therapy for me did not work. A lot of these therapies, by the way, but this is not the show. They're just billing you, because talk therapy will make you just sit in the couch and whine. And it's what you're telling the therapist that the therapist is listening to. Adiatic therapy will make you go back and work through. Shadow work will make you go back and work through the problems and own your part in the stuff that happened to you along the way. And you have to unlearn a lot of things that you were taught as a child. From what we saw, I mean, I was talking to my wife the other day. She's like, I used to see lynching on the street when they put a tie on. How do you get over that? How? How do you get over your father beating his wives? You start to think it's normal, right? You start to think this is life. So I could sit here and talk for 5 hours, but all I'm going to ask of you guys is start talking to each other, ladies. Start telling each other the truth and advise everybody in your life to read books, self-help books, even if they can't afford therapy. Self-help books, they can go online and watch videos. You can come to my page and listen to stories of other people, or my story. You know, we have allowed homophobia to destroy a lot of relationships, friendships, and all kinds of ships. The churches are not even a safe place to go because the pastors are now they're killing people and putting in the altar. A lot of these pastors that you run to when your relationships are not working, they collect thousands from you for no reason. Instead of paying a pastor, I beg, pastors, don't come after me. I'm just saying, find a therapist, find a life coach, find somebody that can listen to you, that can talk to you and walk you through. You know, I was very impressed when I saw people standing up for Annie. People like Makinde, I think is her name, Kiloruko Baby. All these women were just coming. I can't remember her name now, but they were all coming up and saying, hey, we'll stand with you. That's what we need at times like this. And I'm hoping that they had told her ages ago that this thing, I knew this thing wasn't going to work out 10 years ago. Because she has low self-esteem. Only somebody with low self-esteem will be defending a man that had 5 children before she even had the first one. Only somebody with low self-esteem will continuously make excuses for a boy in men's skin. So, I'm asking you women, are we our own worst problems? Are we our own problems because we have a difficult time reconciling 2025 with 1964? We don't no longer live in the times of our mothers. And we can't get confused when we say, oh, we want to be independent, and then we still expect other people to carry us on their head and their back. Because when you're not financially secure, you can't just walk out and leave unless your name is Muji like me and right? I was doing okay until I made the mistake of choosing the wrong partner. I own my mistakes. Are you looking at your life and saying, hey, why am I not happy? Am I happy being in a relationship with a person that beats me? Am I happy with being in a relationship with somebody that harms me mentally, emotionally, financially, and physically? Am I happy? Because when I am not happy, it's going to bleed into the lives of my children. It's going to teach my children that it's okay to accept less. It's okay to accept abuse because they're women. It's going to teach my sons to abuse women. because that's what they saw me as a mother accept. See, all that we did in the past is why our women today can't find husbands or partners. Because me, I don't believe in marriage. I believe in partnership, where we all come to the table and we both grow. And it doesn't mean that you're not married, though, because then they'll say, Auntie Moji said we shouldn't get married. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying sign that paper. It affirms your partnership, but there's a lot of people that I know that are married. They have husbands. They have a horse without the band. The band is a partnership. That's what holds you together. That's what you build on. So please, if we want change to happen, we're going to have to start to do the change ourselves. And it starts in our home. It starts in the way with what we mothers accept, with what we mothers show our children is okay. It took me a long time to be able to do that. I have a lot of scars on my heart because I had taught my children that I am less. I had taught everybody around me that I am less because I didn't love me. I thought because I was gay, I wasn't good enough. So I accepted and settled for less. I remember dating a woman and she cheated on me. I had the dream and I saw her in the dream and I called her out. She didn't believe me. She's like, oh, no, you're lying. No, that's not what happened. So I called the hotel. I'm pretending like I was sending flowers. I left that relationship. And people thought I was mad, but I left that relationship. Then after I left, many years after I left is when I met my wife. If you don't leave a bad relationship, you're not leaving the university of God, Allah, Buddha, whatever it is. You're not leaving room for God to guide you to your promised land. The longer you stay, 23 years, that woman stayed in that horrible relationship. And people say, oh, no, it wasn't horrible. She was riding a private plane. She was carrying Birkin bags. She was shopping at the best stores. Really? Stuff is not what makes a good relationship. The same way it was buying her Birkin bags, it was buying other women Birkin bags, and it was putting them on private planes and having babies all over the place, and it became a community service. I mean, community product. Nobody wants that as a partner. So I feel terrible for her. I really feel terrible for her. And instead of bashing, I think it's time we women, we humans, both men and women, need to be a bit kinder. Because even if that man was going to leave her, which is not a big deal, please leave. God is the one that's taking you out of her life. I really believe that. I believe when you don't leave when you're supposed to leave, the universe, God, Allah, Buddha, whatever you believe God is to you, will yank the chair from underneath you if you don't stand up fast enough. Don't stop staying in horrible relationships so that you can find the one. Marriage is no longer an accomplishment in life. Staying married in a happy, loving relationship. Everybody has issues. I fight with my wife sometimes just because. So we can make up, no joke. I'll start an argument or something. I mean, it's part of my insecurities. But she knows that because we've talked about it. And we've been through it. We read books together. We even had couples therapy. Stop selling yourself short, ladies. You deserve so much more. If you want to come in to the studio. There's a link down there somewhere. If not, I'm going to go. Thank you very much for joining me. And I hope you share the video and take it into your own small groups. And I hope you will go to your pages and have conversations about it. Whew. I feel really bad for Annie. I hope she finds peace. I pray that she is surrounded by love and light. And if you are going through abuse in your relationship as well, reach out to somebody that you trust, that won't take your story outside. Reach out to somebody, leave church out of this, please. Because if you're heterosexual, they already don't tell you that the man is the king. So leave Jesus Christ out of it. There's some things God has therapy. When God created therapists and doctors and lawyers and all that stuff, there's a reason for that. So a pastor is not your therapist. He's not. He's just going to tell you, oh, God doesn't believe in divorce. There are some pastors that will tell you it's time to leave, but most pastors will tell you not to leave. So keep your pastor out of this, right? And definitely reach out to somebody that you can trust. And if you ever feel down, if you ever feel low, don't worry about people judging you. Don't. The best thing I ever did was, I used to be so ashamed to allow people to know that I was getting beat up and all that stuff, that I didn't talk. And when I started talking, nobody could hold me back. And I have grown and evolved. I'm still growing every day too, because it's a lifelong journey when we talk about healing from all this trauma that we African women have been through. So please, please start sharing your stories. When I started talking on social media in 2009, people were like, go write a book. Why are you telling us that? Now everybody's talking. When I started talking about relationships, nobody was doing it. They're like, oh, Auntie Moji is always talking. Now everybody's doing it. But the key thing is to find your own community, right? I don't do anything for followers, because sometimes it's one person, only one. Sometimes God will tell me to do a show and I'll do it, and it's only one person. There might be 10 people on there, and somebody will inbox me and say, oh my God, Auntie Moji, you're talking to me. Or Moji, that show was for me. So I don't care if it's 5 people or 2 people that come. I believe whoever needs my voice that day, the universe will bring them my way. So I thank you for being here. There's nothing like spending time with people. We're trying to build a community. And let me tell you something. I have this shirt, if you're in the United States, it says, thank you for being a part of Moji's World. And I also have the Moji's World t-shirts. If you're in Nigeria, I have a way to get it to you. If you're in America, I definitely have a way to get it to you. So the more people that show up each day, maybe once a week, we'll do a raffle and we'll pick one person that's going to get a t-shirt from me. So thank you all for being here. Blessing and everybody else that was here. It's really good to see you. It's good to be back. And hopefully I'll start doing these things, right, very soon, really. But until next time, please share the video, have the conversations with your family and friends, start talking to other women about empowering each other, about self-love, about healing, about shadow work, about therapy, the right kind of therapy, because even therapy can make you crazy sometimes. But definitely we need to start to train our sons to become better human beings, and we need to start to train our daughters to love themselves. My name is Mojisola Wilson. I thank you so much for coming, and see you soon. Namaste.